Well, welcome Swac'N the Food Podcast, and we bring to you the Legend Edition.
Legend Edition.
Right now, me and G right now, we just fans right now.
We ain't all.
You know how some people, if they see Beyonce or Jay-Z or something like that, they go crazy. Look, man, we got next to us Coach Pete Richardson and Coach Melvin Spears. And they'll tell you all about the Bayou class, all the awards from the 90s, 2000, man, I'm just saying, no, what you got, G?
When they walked in, they was over there talking, and we was sitting there like, man, you see who it is over there talking? So we grew up watching these guys coaching. These are the reasons we're fans of the Swag.
Definitely.
These two guys right here. So we just want to get them in here and ask them some questions.
Definitely. And like we told y'all before, me and G, we swag babies. Yeah. So this is what we pride ourselves on, bringing more light to the SWAC conference. Yeah. And these two guys right here are definitely pioneers in doing that. So I'm gonna let G start it off, G.
I just want y'all to take us back to how y'all got started in the coaching. We'll start with you, Coach Spears. How you get started into coaching?
Well, it was a little different for me.
Okay.
I was an engineer for 16 years, and then I had an opportunity to have a sports agent.
Okay.
And I had a number of guys like Stump Mitchell, Lance Smith, and a number of them was there. So what happened was that Stump ended up getting hurt.
Okay.
And I lobbied for him to get a job down in a little place called Casa Grande, Arizona.
Gotcha.
And he wouldn't take the job, Coach, unless I went down with him. So I would go to work every day, and I'll leave and go down and coach football. We was coaching an all-Mormon team. We didn't have any black kids at that particular time. And we ended up finishing 7-4 the first year. Then we ended up going 13-1. And so lo and behold, Coach Mitchell got an opportunity to go to Morgan State University. So I chose to bring him.
Okay,
over there.
Bring him with you.
And I was going to take him, give him a ride. We packed all this stuff up, and I was going to take him over there and come back and continue to work as an engineer at Motorola. But I got there, and a guy by the name of Ricky Diggs that was there decided that I'm sitting in a meeting and we just talking football. And the guy decided to offer me a job. I said, really? I said, I got a job already. So anyway, lo and behold, I called my boss at Motorola, told him I wasn't coming back, and the rest is history. And then that's where it all started for me. At that particular time, I was studying him because I was the defensive coordinator. A lot of folks don't know I was the defensive coordinator at Morgan State, and that's what my background really is, even though I'm a quarterback, wide receiver type, and played offense in college there. So that's where I got beginning. And then when Doug got an opportunity to get a job at Grambling, then I came along with him, and we stayed 10 years, and then all the other places kind of fell in place, which is just really unusual.
And for the watchers that don't know, Coach ended up taking, Coach Doug, after Eddie Robinson retired, he came along and he bought Coach Spears, and I know a lot about y'all talk about Joe Brady and Lincoln Riley, but this is one of the offensive
gurus in HBCU football.
Definitely.
This is the offensive guru. When I grew up, you knew wherever Melvin Spears went, offense was coming. Offense was coming.
They were gonna throw. Chicks love the long ball. They was gonna head out, Coach. They was gonna head out.
We like going over the top, though.
Definitely. Coach, how you got into coaching?
Well, really, I'm originally from Ohio, and I played Pop Warner football and played high school football, and then I got drafted and played Buffalo Bills for 3 years before I messed my knee up. Then I went back and got a master's degree, but then I decided to get into coaching, and it was a process of being involved, and it seemed like that's all I ever done, as far as coaching, and I had some great people around me, and I got down here at Southern University, Dr. Spikes.
Excellent lady.
Was the chancellor at that time, and really I only had been to Baton Rouge one time in my life. I came down here, and she gave me the opportunity to coach down here, and I knew that they had an outstanding program, and so I had some good assistant coaches around me. So it was just a process of, at that time, Southern University was going through the transition of a lot of coaches at that time, and we were fortunate enough to be able to get the right people at the right time, and a lot of this stuff is timing too. Being in the right place at the right time, and it happened, and I was able to be successful. And of course, you talk about Eddie Robinson. I really didn't know him a great deal until I used to meet him at the coaching clinics all the time. And
sitting in the front row, right?
I said every time I would see him in the coaching clinics, he's always would be in the front row taking notes, and I would, God, I got to kind of trail this guy right here. And sure enough, that he was an outstanding not only an exciting coach, but he was an outstanding person. He really meant a great deal to HBC schools, and he established a great process for the HBC coaches.
Definitely. And Coach, I want y'all to know, right now, this show right here, most HBCUs watch our podcast. And I want to just give a background of what's going on. Coach, what's Coach Spears' stats, Coach? What you got?
He has 4 SWAC titles as an offensive coordinator and a head coach. 4 of them. 4. So this is legendary to me. You know?
Yeah, and Coach Richardson, he went 169 and 76 losses and 1 tie. And he also had 4 Black College National Championships, 3 CIA champions, 5 SWAC champions. And this field that we at right here, this is his field, P. Richardson Field. So for y'all that don't know, I keep telling y'all out there, this is really royalty. This is royalty at its finest right here. Coach, I want to ask y'all about recruiting pretty much now and then back then. How is it different and how has it changed? As far as with social media, it seems like it's probably easier now, in my opinion.
You guys did it back then without social media to get these kids to come down.
Pretty much, I was riding the chitlin circuit.
It is a little easier, but I think it still boils down to all the different relationships that you have and the folks that are going to trust you with these young men. But during that time frame, and even now, I think that all the coaches need to understand the facets of what's really going on. Even though we coach this game of football, that's really what our main objective is not to just talk about the player in the arena. It's really the man outside of the arena. And what we do is really try to get them mold and understand that the number one, get a good education. Number two, understand that they're going to have to compete not only at a local or global level, they're going to have to be able to compete internationally as well when you get into the real market. One of the things that our school is at HBCU brings to the table is the fact that everybody that leaves our school is going to be professionals, whether professional football, whether engineers, doctors, and etc. And that's one of the things that we're still talking about nowadays, that they got so much social media. I don't know if they really get the personal thing that goes along with all the parents and all the other things when we know the coaches. Well, back in the day, when you come to Southern University, Coach Richardson's going to be a certain way. He's going to be a disciplinarian. You ain't have to worry about your kid as well as Coach Rob and all the rest of them. So those are the things that we brought to the table during that time.
What about you, Coach?
Well, I think the main thing is it's going to be tough on this level because of the athletes that you're able to acquire, and regardless, I think what's been helped Division I AA level is that what hurt it is that the transfer portal thing. You're able to, if an individual can flat play, you're going to recruit your tail off to try to get it, but probably 99% of them are going to go to the larger schools if they have that opportunity.
Right.
I think, like I was telling Coach Spears, the key in this level is being able to see an individual and develop him within 2 years, and then get him a little bigger and a little stronger. And of course, I think you talk about the Bayou Classic is one of the highlights of any organization as far as football game. But I think more than anything else, you have to sell the parents, because the main thing here is that academics, you have to talk about that aspect of it, because about 90% of them never going to get an opportunity. When you get finished with them, they're going to go to the pros. They have aspirations of going, but you know that. But you can guarantee them one thing: the foundation that Grambling or Southern have academically, graduating those individuals, you can guarantee that if he do his part. Now, if he hones his skills and develop and have that opportunity to go to the pros, then he also have that option. But even if he goes there, you're talking about only playing maybe 4 or 5 years at the most. If you're able to get through, then you still got to work the next 40 years. What you gonna do?
Got to fall back on what you got.
Absolutely. And that's where I think the key is. A lot of the HBC is making sure that academically, those athletes, you guarantee their parents that you can do that if he does his part. And I think you can be successful, get him a little bigger and stronger. If he has aspirations of him going to the pros, well, he has that opportunity. But eventually he's going to be able to get a job that compete on any level if you can make it through our schools.
Coach, could you bring us into the coaching room one time? I got a question. Was there any player that you knew Southern had their eye on, how would you address that player, like any player in particular that y'all knew Grambling probably was going to get or Southern was going to get, vice versa?
We knew y'all fought over a lot of players together,
especially in Louisiana with with Graham being up north and us being down south.
Well, I think the main thing is that you have to look at the player and you have to sell his parents, because a lot of them players, I don't know whether it's come from the high school coaches, because they think that the HBCs was a cut below competition-wise. And so you have to sell the parents academically that you can guarantee them they can graduate if they do their part. But then from that aspect, you have to develop them. And I think one of the downfalls I could see is that transfer portal thing. You're able to develop a player, then all of a sudden in a couple of years he decides he wants to go, he's gone.
He's gone.
And you don't even have to wait any longer.
Right.
And so I think that's one of the biggest things you have to be concerned with.
And a lot of times when they transfer out thinking they're developed, they really don't understand the facet of what they're going with. When you transfer from one of our schools, certainly you might be the guy. When you go to when you go to other places, they might have 13 guys that look just like you. Right. So that's the difference in the porter and the mindset of what's going on with these kids. But when we were competing against each other, I'm gonna sell what we have.
Right.
You come to Grambling where everybody is somebody, and we're gonna sell that 300 or some guy that had the opportunity to go to the National Football League, and talk about Doug Williams being the MVP and all the other great players that we have in our league, in which Grambling having an international brand. Those are the things that we're gonna say. For it's no negativity that's going to come out of our mouth when it comes to our institution, because both of them are outstanding. Right. Absolutely. So you got to sell your brand. You got to sell what you're offering, and particularly, just to reiterate what Coach said, you got to sell the parents. And what you have to understand, most other coaches in the surrounding area went to one or two of our schools.
Yeah.
So you got to understand, if you go into a Southern school, you know what you're going to have to do. If you go into a Grambling school, when they come in, you know what you're going to have to do. And certainly, some guys like the Southern University brand and the jukebox and all the things that go along with it. And on the flip side of it, a lot of folks like coming to Grambling and looking at the great legacies of Eddie Robinson and Doug Williams and all the great players that have participated there. So we're selling what we have, particularly. And it's been very, very good when you look at all the players that are from Southern, all the players from Grambling, and what the Bayou Classic means. We're going to sell the Bayou Classic, but you come to Grambling to see the world, because we're going to play all over the world. So that's the other piece that we're going to sell. Absolutely.
Right.
I wanted to ask, what did you guys enjoy most about coaching in the SWAC itself? Coaching in the SWAC, what did you enjoy most just about coaching in the SWAC? The atmosphere, just the culture of the SWAC. What did you enjoy the most?
I'm a player. I am I'm a guy from the Southwest Athletic Conference. And I understand the pageantry, I understand the competition factor of it, but I do understand the facet of what we got to do in order to make sure that we can be successful outside of this. Love coming to the Bayou Classic, love homecoming, and all the things that goes along with it. But the thing that sets it all apart is the ability to coach those players every single day, the camaraderie, and being able to compete against outstanding coaches like Coach Richardson and all the other ones that we had. That's where the fire is burning. When we get ready to walk down that corridor, Coach, and I know you're over there, it's going to be tough. So, but that's where it's all about.
Okay. Coach, what about you coming from Winston-Salem, coming over to the SWAC? What about your moments?
Well, it was a little different for me because, see, I went to University of Dayton, which is a white institution, and I really, even though I played Winston-Salem State, and I played Southern University in Shreveport, I knew a little bit about the program, but I was totally naive, basically about the atmosphere of HBCs until I got involved with it. And I found that, the relationships that you develop in the HBCs, those are lifetime relationships. Yes, these are your boys, and regardless of you playing and get that out, some of them get an opportunity, but a lot of them don't. But then you never lose that contact with those individuals. And I think that's the biggest difference I found between the historically black schools and the white schools, because of the relationship that you have, not only during the 4 or 5 years that you play, but those are lifetime relationships that you develop with those people.
I can tell you what's interesting. Coach and I was just sitting over there, and guess who called? Bruce Eugene.
Wow.
That was my next question. That led us right to my next question. Because I wanted to ask you, how was it recruiting and coaching the legend Bruce Eugene?
Well, Bruce Eugene was a kid that really was not like we talking about earlier here, that needs a little development. He was an outstanding basketball player, was a straight A student with great, academic prowess. But at the end of the day, he looked like an offensive lineman. And a lot of folks recruited him as an offensive lineman. Well, what folks don't know is that Bruce Eugene came to Grambling not on a scholarship.
Wow.
Matter of fact, at that particular time, Coach William wouldn't let me give him a scholarship. But at the end of the day, what happened was that he was a tops guy. He was more of an academic, so therefore he really didn't have to pay any money to go anywhere because he had grants and things of that nature. And I told his mother, and she just trusted me with him and give him my opportunity. And I guess the folks always bring this up to me because I told him, Coach, I say, this little guy here, the round mound of touchdowns, going to go down as the best quarterback of all times at Grambling. And they used to laugh at me. Then all of a sudden, 4 or 5 years later, they're like, wow.
Yeah, definitely. And he is ranked number 2 behind
All
Steve
time.
McNair. And shout out to Akil Glass. He just from Alabama A&M. He just
Into the top 4.
yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. So that's good to see. With SWAC football keep progressing. Definitely.
So next we just wanted to get into the Bayou Classic.
Bayou Classic.
Bayou
That's what we're here for. This the legend.
These are legends. These are legends.
But before we get into our top 2,
Okay.
I want to know what's your top Bayou Classic, Coach Pete?
Top Bayou
maybe
Classic.
the one you had the most fun at, the one you coached, the one that you remember the most memorable.
Well, I think we had talked about it when Scotty Anderson dropped that football.
Okay.
That's the 1999 Bayou Classic.
Yeah.
1999, because I think we were down something like 27-6.
It was 31-10.
31-10 going into halftime.
At
Yeah.
halftime, and they had a great football team at that time. And then we came out, we made a few plays, and I think that we had just scored, and we kicked off, and Grambling had the football, and they were going down, and Scotty ran to the post and back to the corner, and then the quarterback put the ball right on the numbers, and he dropped it. And I think that's the whole key to turning that football game around.
Yes.
And that was Lionel Hayes, the quarterback.
Yes, but I thought that was the difference in the game.
Yeah.
We catch the ball, it's a done deal.
Right.
But Southern ended up cashing in. Scotty dropped that pass, and then all of a sudden, Coach Richardson started sending them guys at Lionel Hayes. Lionel Hayes had a fumble, and then all of a sudden, them Jags started, defense Jags. The dome was rumbling all over the place. And before we knew it, we were in a dog fight. And at the end of the day,
I think that was one of the largest crowds we ever had today.
Yeah, it was 67,000 plus in the Superdome there.
It was rock.
38-31.
Yeah.
38-30.
Jags.
Was there any adjustments you made, Coach?
Halftime.
What you went in at halftime and told those boys?
You throw some chairs over? What you standing there?
No, the thing about coaching is you realize what type of personnel you have.
Okay.
And we had made some mistakes in the first half and fell behind. And you're not going to get it all back in one play.
Right.
So we just had to go a play at a time and score at a time. But defensively, we had to pick up the tempo and get some turnovers. And like I say, I guess somebody had to be looking over us at that time because he was wide open and he dropped that pass. And when he dropped that pass, Scotty Anderson, that opened the door. And then from then on, it was easy. They went to making some plays.
Now, Coach, I know y'all did jump out with 31-10. Coach, what did y'all see on film that y'all knew that y'all could kind of?
It wasn't so much of what we saw on film. Is that coach is going to play a pressurized defense. It's just a matter of whether or not our guys could make the adjustment once it occurred. And Bruce Eugene at that particular time, actually it was Lionel Hayes who did an excellent job with reading defense and things of that nature. And coach knew we had 4 or 5 guys that were very good as well to match up with an outstanding secondary that they had. And we just jumped on them right away. And then before you knew it was 31-10, and we go in at the half. And we tell them that we got to pick up the tempo. Then Coach William tell me to slow the tempo down. I'm like, slow it down. We got to keep throwing this thing. Because they're going to play for 60 straight minutes. So I just thought it was just one of those typical games where it didn't matter what the records were. It didn't even matter what the score. The one thing you were going to get from Southern University, that they're going to play for 60 minutes. And our kids kind of took it for granted when we went in, even though we were telling them, guys, they're going to make a run at us at some particular time. And at the end of the day, Scotty made a mistake, and then Mo changed. And then all of a sudden, Lionel, Coach sent a blitz in, Lionel fumbled the ball, and then they right back in it. So it was just an excellent football game.
Gotcha.
Coach Pete, I got 2 personnel questions I want to ask you. First is, when you brought in Terrence Levy, did you see something that you thought you were going to coach different with it? Because I know Troy Williams went out that game. I think he was injured that game.
Well, they used to call him Big Time Levy.
That's who he was.
And rest in peace to Terrence Levy as well.
Big time Levy.
And the thing about the whole situation, we were struggling. And, he had a good week of practice, so, hey, we gave him an opportunity, and he could connected a couple passes, and sure enough, he elevated to a different level. And he brought the intensity back into our football team, and he did an outstanding job of putting us back into the football game.
And my last question about this is, how did Michael Hayes end up on our radar? Because if people that don't know, Michael Hayes was probably one of the best wide receivers to come through the SWAC.
Well, Michael Hayes originally was a 5-star athlete coming out, and he went to LSU.
Okay.
And then he was good friends of one of the players we had here on campus, and he was always over here. And then I had heard that he had some issues. I guess he didn't live up to their expectations, and people started to talk, and one day he was standing in front of me in my office. Right. And because he had new son of players on our team, and I think he was a little immature at that time, because when you go to a 5A school, the big boys, you may be an outstanding 5-star. You go there, there's 5 of you standing. Now who wants to compete?
Right.
And at that time, he think he was going to play, and he wasn't playing, so he got discouraged. And so he wanted to transfer, and sure enough, I gave him an opportunity, and he came up and did an outstanding job for our football team. But I think down in that area where he's from, you have some outstanding athletes come out that little area. Okay. A lot of them, schools are not very big, but the families, we have a lot of alumni down in there, and helped us out a great deal.
In my opinion, one of the best receiving corps, that was at Trevion, Joe Bear, Lewis, a lot of those guys.
Tough.
Yeah, definitely.
They were hard to deal with, I can tell you. Because with Hayes on one side and Joe Bear, who's a speed merchant, it made it really, really tough.
Well, we had an outstanding, you talk about the football players we had, but then I think we had some great assistant coaches. And I think that, in fact, you talk about them, I think their coaches at that time was Coach Dooley.
Dooley and Mark Orlando.
Yeah, Mark Orlando. But Coach Dooley coached the wide receivers at that time.
Yeah, okay, wow.
And he did an outstanding job.
And coach, what about DeMarcus?
DeMarcus?
On the line, defense, Southern defense. DeMarcus Miller.
No.
DeMarcus Miller.
The man amongst boys.
DeMarcus was an athlete from Texas, and he really wasn't very big. I mean, he was big. He probably weighed about 275, maybe 280, but he wasn't real tall. But he was a great warrior, man. If you wanted to go to war, you take him with you. Because either he was going to get it done, or he's going to make the people around him believe that they could get it done. Right. And I think those are the type of athletes we had. A lot of them that were undersized, and you had to develop, and a lot of them you gave them opportunity, and once you gave them that opportunity, then they were with you for life, man. Those individuals, they played hard, and by giving that opportunity.
And I think that's the difference between now and then. Y'all were actually able to develop them. It wasn't as if, I'm not getting this here, it's time to go somewhere else. Y'all were actually able to be hands-on with them and just see them through the process.
Again, it just goes back to what Coach just said. You got to have some outstanding assistant coaches.
Definitely.
In order to do that. Not only coach them, but keep up with them and make sure they do the things that they need to do. And that's what you get at our school. Those are the kind of individuals. It's just so personal with respect to what we do, even though we got a 63 or 85, it's still the same, you know. Everybody kind of live in the same location, particularly at Grambling. Everybody did. And, you know, I got to see them on a regular occurrence. You know, one of the things we always talk about, money don't sleep. I might be up at 3 o'clock in the morning working out or anything. So that is the one major criteria that separates us from all the rest.
Coach, what was your most memorable Bayou class, Coach Spears? Either as an OC or a head coach?
Probably the 2004 when Coach Williams had an opportunity to lead, and Bruce Eugene got hurt in the very first ball game. We were struggling just to keep our heads above water with a true freshman quarterback. And you know, we played it up as much as we could play it up. When we got a chance to come down to the Bayou class, as if he was going to play, I knew he wasn't going to play it down. And, and at the end of the day, and I'm sure, you know, we were throwing it all over the place. But with a young quarterback, coach can kind of contest to this. You know, we had to kind of minimize his touches and the things that he was going to do. And once we got down there, we was trying to portray that we were still the old Grambling offensive old, where we were going to throw the ball all over the place. But no, that wasn't going to be the case because of a freshman quarterback who really did an outstanding job. Pardon me?
Who was the quarterback?
Brandon Landers was the quarterback. Was a true freshman quarterback. And we ended up running that ball that day. We ended up running it 44 times. And the question I got for Coach is that I knew that all his coaches thought, you know, that we really probably didn't have the discipline to just stick to it because we really was a wide open offense.
Right.
And all of a sudden we started running that old Eddie Robinson Wayne T element, and then we had the big boys coming out.
I remember that game.
I remember that.
That flow kept going, and we ended up sticking with it, and then we, slow and behold, at the end of the day, we played pretty well. We got a few breaks, and then we ended up getting up out of there. That's my most memorable when it comes down to just, you know, a great old football game.
Yes.
Right.
So I had it wrong. I told my coach, I said, I think it's going to be 2005.
I love 2005.
That was my personal favorite.
I love 2005. But the 2004 game was a game of really wits.
Gotcha.
You know, we had to come up with something just to kind of match up with Coach. Other than that, we really didn't match up because the quarterback position, having a freshman, you would say the older quarterback were better. So we had to kind of figure out some things. We had some big old boys up front there that were pretty darn good. So when it got down to it, when we figured out we probably could go to that old set, and they probably, you know, a lot of folks don't forget about that wing team. We didn't forget about it, so we ended up going to the wing team. We ended up getting up out of there.
Coach, were y'all surprised when they came out in that, or?
Well, you know, you practice during the week on what you think they're going to do, and they hadn't ran it, and it's a difficult offense to try to control because there's so many options in it, and a lot of times, especially on defense, you have areas of responsibility, and all you have to do is get one guy out of place, and then you're in trouble. So, you know, they came out in that, and now it became ground and pound. And they're big guys. So you know, you can live with that aspect, but I think both teams played hard, and being coaches, and with that game, it was a good game to see because it was an old-fashioned type football, and people were excited about going to New Orleans and the Bayou Classic.
Definitely.
Now, but what you learn now, a lot of the things that you see the Kansas City Chiefs and all those cats are doing when they move the guys out, it's still all wing T principle. They're doing the same thing with all the different misdirection, but the only difference is they move them out and take advantage of the faster guys in light of it. I really like what they do because it just reminds me of stuff we do.
Gotcha. Because I wanted to ask you more about the 2005 season. I call it the Grambling 50 season. It feel like everybody got 50. You get 50, you get 50, everybody got 50.
That was the slogan, everybody get 50.
Everybody get 50. Everybody get 50. That was one of the years where I became a big fan of yours, just the open. I love offense. So I was a big fan of y'all. Even my dad loves offense. He's an Arcanite, and he just loves offense. He tell anybody, you gonna have to stop Coach Spears. If you don't stop, he not gonna stop himself. He gonna try to score forever. So.
Every time. That was our mentality. But we were lucky enough and had the luxury of having a senior ball club. Gotcha. Had a quarterback that basically had been in our system for 4 consecutive years. And anytime you got a bunch of players that are at the senior level that you can trust and do a variety of different things, and they really enjoy playing, even though they thought that we passed the ball all the time. When we did the numbers, we were almost even with the run and the pass. It's just at some particular time when Bruce got in that groove, we kind of just stepped back and let him go. And one of the things that was kind of interesting to the assistant coaches, who did an excellent job, all those great wide receivers we had was coached by a great wide receiver, Sammy White, who did a remarkable job. And every guy that Sammy White coached had an opportunity to play at the next level. Start with the guy that dropped that ball, Scotty. Yeah. So, but no, that's what it boiled down to. And we were coming to the ball game. The first drive, we would just take the coaches out of it because we had spent so much time together, Bruce and I, and he understood what we really wanted, how we attacked, what the numbers were, what we did. You know, so we kind of didn't put our hand, because coach in the 2005 Bayou Classic, I let Bruce call the first couple series, and Bruce ran the ball, passed the ball. So he got a great feel of it, and then we dodged a number of bullets in that game, because he had a couple of interceptions that they could have gotten away with, and then right at the break, we end up fumbling the ball, and they go right in and score, which was just outstanding.
Yeah. That's what about this year's Bayou Classic. That's what I want to talk about now. This year's Bayou Classic. What you guys?
Yeah, because we all know this year is the first time where neither Southern nor Grambling is actually in contention to go to the SWAC championship or actually play for something. But with the Bayou Classic, you're always playing for something, because we're gonna talk that noise all year long. But what's y'all opinion about this year's Bayou Classic?
Well, I think personally, they're saying you play for pride, and I think that's part of it. But when you're a football coach, you begin the year, you get certain objectives, and one of them, of course, is to win the West, and then to win the championship, and hopefully that a lot of the seniors you have will graduate. And I've never say pride won anything. Not me personally. So, but I think it's going to be an exciting football game. I think both of the teams are at this point are beginning to play well now at this time of the year.
I think they are.
And you think in November going into this, that's the time that the experience of your football team start to come out, and the young guys get the confidence that they need to play. And it's going to be an exciting game.
Yeah, that's a good one. But it's still bragging rights. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the records are. It's still Grambling against Southern. It's an extravaganza that's going to take place every year. It's a big reunion. Everybody wants to be there, and all those guys on with other team wants to shine in the big game. So at the end of the day, I think it's going to be an outstanding football game. It's going to be an outstanding reunion, because everybody's looking forward to coming down to New Orleans. We have not been to the Dome in almost 2 or 3 years, so certainly everybody is looking to come down and have a good time. I just don't want everybody to get hung up on whether or not our teams are winners or losers. Just going to support both institutions at a high level, and at the end of the day, you still want them Tigers to walk out of that thing. They are.
What makes the Bayou Classic so special to you guys? What makes it so special? Like, what do you tell them coming up to the game, that week of the game? What are you preaching to the team that week with everything going on, all the festivities of the Bayou Classic? What are you preaching that week to the team?
Well, I think the main thing is special because a lot of individuals came to Grambling and Southern University because of the Bayou Classic.
Gotcha.
They had the opportunity to see that game on television, and I think before the last couple of years, a lot of programs on our level really didn't get a whole lot of television time. And now you see on national television, on NBC, on Thanksgiving, after you get a chance to eat the turkey, then all of a sudden you see Grambling and Southern play. And of course now you get that, you develop that your team and also what type of product, and really give the people in the country an opportunity to take a look at the program, because we have some outstanding football players and outstanding coaches on our level. But you never knew that before then. But I think the last couple of years they're getting a lot more HBCs on television, almost maybe once a week, and that was almost unheard of. And the Bayou Classic at that time what I think was the only major football game on NBC.
Yeah, we're the only show in town.
You know what I'm saying?
Everybody's watching.
Everybody's watching. Yeah, all the 20 million viewers are watching. And like Coach said, the bottom line is that it's an opportunity to showcase your talent. Monday through Thursday, we play, we practice like no other. But on Saturday, our job is to go in and put on a show. And when you go to the Bayou Classic, it's still a production between the football team and the band, and then you get an opportunity to go to the reunion when everybody's going to be there down in the Crescent City.
Everybody.
You know, it is what it is. And, you know, if you can't get your blood flowing to go play at one of the biggest games in the world, when you start talking about rivalry games, Grambling and Southern falls at the very top with Michigan, Notre Dame, and all the ones that goes along with the process. And what we sell is the excitement. But from the coaching perspective, we sell it as just another great game, and the team that makes the least amount of mistakes are going to win.
Gotcha. Coach, I also wonder, do you guys miss coaching? Miss it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, we miss walking down that corridor. We miss walking across that field, talking to all the players. But the thing that you miss more than anything is the camaraderie with the young people, getting the opportunity to talk to them on a regular basis and trying to lead them in the right direction to understand, to get an outstanding education. We try to continue to get them prepared for corporate America and be able to compete in the global market. Those are the things that be really, really great Americans.
Gotcha.
Great Americans, not one way or the other, just do the right thing. And I can sit here and say that this guy here has done it as great, as better, as good as anybody else that have done it. You know, Coach Rob kind of set the stage, and the guy that when you talk about Ace Mumford, now we got Coach Richardson's name on this field, which I'm just elated about. We're still waiting on a couple other folks at Jackson to take care of Coach W.C. Garden, who has done an outstanding job as well. So pay homage to our guys. And one of the other places, and I might be speaking out of term, Coach Richardson, I don't know if you have become a SWAC Hall of Famer yet, right? That has to be coming, because there's nobody else left. You know, Bill Hayes is in, Coach Taylor is in, Coach Bailey, who coached in Division III. It can't be Coach Magrino Castle and Coach Castle and Coach Mumford and them in. Hey, Coach got to be next. Come on.
He got to be next.
Yeah, hey,
let's do it.
I want those guys on their committee to understand that you know, Coach Richardson, oh, it was a beast coming down here trying to play against him week in and week out, and I really admired him for it. And through the admiring of him, you know, Coach Rob did a great job for us up there, and Coach William, the master of adjustments. That's one thing. You know, the thing I learned from Doug more than anything else is, you know, he's going to be very intense, but on the other hand, he's going to be the master of a different adjustment to make sure that we play at a high level. And that's one of the things that always transpired at the Bayou Classic. You can bet your bottom dollar that you're going to play for 60 straight months.
Okay.
What about coaching? You miss what you miss most about coaching?
Well, I think the player relationship you build over a period of time, because see, when you start off, especially in the HBC, a lot of the latest technology you really didn't have, because a lot of times, you know, we were cut and paste. When I first started coaching, that means you watch the film, cut it, tape it together, run it back and forth. It took hours and hours and hours. And I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of coaches came at that time, were great coaches, because you spend so much time putting the film together. The player relationship that you have with your players is second to none, and those individuals will call you consistently. You don't think they're listening, but a lot of them, you get a chance to see them and their family. They're good citizens. They speak well for a university, and they do an outstanding job representing Grambling and Southern University.
Gotcha.
So like we said, we got the legends with us. The legends discussing the Bayou Classic, but I want to take it from the Bayou Classic. We got FAMU that's come to the conference, Bethune-Cookman that's come to the conference, Deion Sanders. What do y'all think the SWAC is headed right now? I feel like they're heading in a great direction. What are y'all opinions on the state of the SWAC right now?
Well, I think overall, when you look at our conference with the addition of FAM and Bethune-Cookman, it established an outstanding conference, because now you look at the teams of us and Grambling and Coach Jackson State. They're doing an outstanding job. Alcorn's always had an outstanding program. So now, with the additions of getting on television, the people were able to see not only what type of product you produce, but also we had some outstanding programs here at Southern University. You're talking about the law department, you're talking about the nursing programs. All of them are outstanding programs, and really, when you really take a close look at them, they don't have to take a step back for no school in the country as far as once you get out there that you can compete.
Gotcha.
State of the SWAC, Coach.
Well, I think we're going in the right direction. Certainly, with the ability to bring the other two foes over, Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman, it says a lot about our balance. It upgrades our competition factor, but it also gives an opportunity now with Coach Prime. With Coach Prime, who I think has done an excellent job with the uplifting of getting the ESPN and the TV folks to bring awareness to what we've been doing for quite some time on a very high level. So certainly I think with Dr. McCullough, he's moved us in the right direction when it comes down to when you look at our attendance base. If you look at all the attendance for this year, Jackson State really has won attendance in FCS for quite some time, as well as Southern University, which is going to be second, and then Alcorn has really got in the midst too. So now with our attendance up, gives a little bit more notoriety when it comes down to putting us on not ESPN Plus but ESPN. So that's going to be the difference in the ball game where you got 60,000 to watch Alcorn play, then you got 60-some thousand with the Jackson homecoming it was just astronomical, and then FAMU and all the ones that come down here to Baton Rouge, but we got standing room only. So those are the things that we're looking forward to, and then we have the three outstanding games. Bayou Classic, quite natural, still number one, Magic City, and the Florida Classic. We have all those things within our conference now, so we should get a little bit more notoriety.
And Coach, they got the Soul Bowl now too. I don't know if you heard about the Soul Bowl.
Coach know about the Soul Bowl.
I know about the Soul Bowl, but I think the Soul Bowl really should be the Capital City Classic. And like Coach said earlier, the thing about the Bayou Classic and all these different classic games, it gives us an opportunity to sell our brand to all these kids that we're really recruiting. And it's not so much of home and home as it is being able to market your program and have a brand that really is second to none, and we've done that. So instead of Jackson, Alcorn, and Show, we got 62,000. We don't need to be the Soul Bowl, we need to be the Capital City Classic like we've always done it. And R.W. Jones and Dr. Jesse Stone and all those guys that had great vision in order to put together the Bayou Classic, it goes back to exception. You know, those guys was just brilliant. So therefore, we are where we're supposed to be now. It's our opportunity in the next generation, or the next millennium, to take it to new heights. And one of the things we got to do, Coach, I'm still reeling over the fact that we lost that NBC spot. You know, we were the only show in town, like we talked about earlier, but instead of being the only show in town, if we can get an opportunity to just be constantly on ESPN, it kind of balances itself out when it comes to revenue and the things of that nature.
I think we can improve that though, because with the addition of some of the HBC classic games is going on, people around the country are finally realizing that we play good brand of football, and people are coming. And of course, you know, you look at our classic down in New Orleans, they're excited about getting that opportunity to get back down there, and of course the classics throughout the country. So now we can take and go to California, go to Chicago, and people, especially Southern University, our people gonna follow regardless of what we play. They're gonna be there. So that only helps the student body, will increase in attendance as far as the students, also to export your programs and do a good job of selling what we have. And people are proud of, because it's amazing how many alumni we have in them type places that want to see us come and play.
And Coach, I also want to ask, speaking of TV and just television, I remember coming up in 2006, you know, I was young then, but 2006 coming up with Season of the Tiger on BET. On BET. You guys on BET, Coach.
Well, I'm really proud of that, because I was one of the first guys. We were one of the first to have a coaching reality show, and I saw these. I was thinking about Eddie Robinson at the time when we started thinking about it, but they also had that edition that they show on on television with the pros.
Okay.
So
yeah.
and I said, why not Grambling? So
Yeah.
so we started getting in touch with a bunch of other folks. Producer came in and we wanted a different little spin, even though, you know, we had a spin. Our quarterback was an unusual guy and during the worst times of Katrina. And we had an outstanding band that we also, because we know we're production. So if we're basically going to bring them in to look at football, certainly we're going to include the World Fame. And then we had something that no one had ever thought about. We had a white kid that were outstanding in our band that did not do what he's supposed to do, and he still didn't get in the band until he did what he's supposed to do. Manziel. So that was a different little twist, and we had a young lady from Ohio, from Coach home state, and she came down and she understood the significance down here that even though we pride ourselves in playing football and doing all these things athletic, the most important thing to us was getting a good education. So she had to understand that the hard way that she had to go to school and make a great grade in order to continue to work in that band. And the band showed the competition factor between not only the football programs and the band. So not only is the football program are competing through all our schools, the bands are doing likewise. So therefore, you didn't get Grambling without the World Fame. It was just the way it was.
Came together. Package deal.
Package deal.
Coach, I got one more question before we wrap it up for Coach Richardson. Coach, did you get any pushback when you recruited and started Marcus Jacoby?
Not really, because see, Marcus came here. One of the players brought Marcus to me because he had.
Coach, your players love you, Coach. Cause they all bring them to you, Coach. They just bring you all there.
But Coach, that's what players do. You got good coaches,
right?
Absolutely.
At that time, he was at another school, and they were working out, and one of the players, our quarterback got hurt, and so they recommended him to me, and he came over, which was surprising, and but they accepted him before I did, because they brought him to us because they realized that, you know, we were all in this together, and they gave him. I was gonna give him an opportunity because regardless of, you know, what color he was, if you could play, you was going out there.
Absolutely. And he did an excellent job for you too. He really did.
Came and played for us, and of course, like I say, our starting quarterback got hurt. He stepped in and did an outstanding job.
Well, Coach, we want to give y'all both y'all flowers. Y'all definitely pillars. We need to work on getting Coach Richardson in the Hall of Fame. Just look at his resume.
Yeah, check his resume.
Check his resume.
And I also want to give Coach Spears his flowers, you know, because I'm an alternate. And I'm going to go on record and say I feel like you helped turn our program around. You know, especially with the recruits you brought in down there. So I just want to give you flowers here on air that I feel like you helped turn our program around. You know, I don't think you get the credit you deserve coming in there, bringing it, changing the culture down there, and bringing some of the players down there that helped us turn out.
Because those were his players.
Well, we had a great opportunity to bring in some outstanding young men that were in that 3, 4, 5. So had a couple 5 stars in there as well. We still got one now that are still playing. The Wilson kid that played for Dallas Cowboys, went on to Kansas City. Damian Wilson. That's one of our guys as well. But the whole foundation is really what it was all about, and it's certainly. You know, I'm a proud alumnus of Alcorn State University, and we did a great job. But at the end of the day, that's my way of giving back. So we've set the stage. We won with that group 3 consecutive, and all of a sudden we go to Samoa and bring these Samoans in. We had 5 of them, and those guys were just outstanding. They love being there, and that's really what it's all about. When you come to our school, we got a bunch of different cultures that comes in, and we were lucky enough to come in the day before signing day. And signed 40 players in a day, and the rest is history. And they went on to compete and win 3 They won 3 championships. I think 1 national championship, and I'm elated about it.
Yeah, see, my dad is also now. He's a big fan of you. He tells everybody. If you can come back today, he'll take you back today. Right now, he's a big time Marcus Melvin Spears fan. So we just want to give you your flowers for the guru you've been, this recruiter you've been.
Well, the other little piece that I just like to add is that, you know, sometimes we look at our conference that we've had so many outstanding coaches, outstanding men that have done great. You know, one of the things that I know it's a new trend, it's a new brand that our guys don't coach football at a high level. They really do. And some of the stability factors that we're having that now within our conference, need to look for those guys that have basically had an opportunity to coach our kids, had an opportunity to recruit them at a very, very high level and understand the culture base, not so much of all the other things that goes along, and has the ability to market your program.
Gotcha.
When it comes down, Coach can tell you better than anything else. You know, during our heyday, we had to market the field, we had to do a whole bunch of things in order to create our brand to be outstanding. And I feel blessed just to have an opportunity to be in our conference, to be coached by an excellent guy and Coach Marino Castle, and then come in and learn big time football under Doug Williams along with Coach Eddie Robinson, and then get the luxury to coaching against Coach Richardson. It was second to none to me. And, you know, I figured these guys can pitch their skills against anybody, and I saw it on a real-time basis because the guys that have come out of this conference, when you look at the ball players, Aeneas Williams is one to go along with a bunch of other guys that he coached that did a great job. Before we go to Coach, where is the running back that you had from California who was just unbelievable?
Steve Walker.
Number 3. Steve Walker. Number 3. I remember Steve Walker.
Man, it's nobody as good as that guy. But that guy was just so well-rounded. He was fast. He could catch the ball. He was tough. I remember him like it was yesterday.
Well, appreciate y'all again, Coach. Definitely. Like I said, me and G, we fans right now.
We in all.
Yeah.
We in all, you know. We didn't 4 months ago. We didn't think we would be sitting next to you guys, interviewing guys like you. So we just want to thank y'all. You know, taking out the time to come sit down and talk to us. Thanks a lot.
It is a great opportunity. We appreciate it.
Definitely.
Really appreciate it.
Definitely. And make sure you continue to like, share, subscribe, comment. Swac'N the Fool, we're in the building. J Max. Hey, we hope y'all appreciate it. A bunch of gems.
Bunch of them right here.
Appreciate it. We out.